Russia launched an intercontinental ballistic missile against Dnipro, East Ukraine, on the morning of November 21st, Kyiv's Air Force reported. If confirmed, it would be the first time the Kremlin has used such a weapon in an attack on Ukraine. In the early hours, a countrywide air raid alert sounded due to the threat of ballistic missiles, and later, the launch of several Russian Tu-95 MS bomber aircraft. According to Ukraine's Air Force, the attack targeted the city of Dnipro using a number of different missile types. In particular, an intercontinental ballistic missile was launched from the Astrakhan region of the Russian Federation, and Kh-47M2 Kinzhal aeroballistic missile from a MiG-31K fighter jet was launched from the Tambov region, and 7 Kh-101 cruise missiles were fired from Tu-95 MS strategic bombers, the report said. The report did not specify what type of Icbm was launched. Astrakhan Oblast is located in southern Russia, over 700 kilometers, 435 miles, east of Dnipro. The region borders Kazakhstan, Russia's Kalmykia Republic, Volgograd Oblast, and the Caspian Sea. An industrial enterprise was damaged and 2 fires broke out in the city, Governor Serhiy Lysak said. A rehabilitation center for people with disabilities was damaged in the attack, Mayor Boris Filatov said. At least 2 people are reported to have been injured. Ukraine's Air Force said 6 of the Kh-101 missiles were reportedly shot down, but did not say if the reported Icbm had caused any of the damage in Dnipro. Russia regularly uses close and short-range ballistic missiles in aerial attacks against Ukraine, but Icbms are far larger, can be equipped with nuclear payloads, and are designed to hit targets at far longer ranges. Ballistic missiles are rocket-powered and are launched high into the atmosphere before arcing back down onto their target. They're only guided during the initial stages of launch, so they can be less accurate than cruise missiles, but have the advantage of reaching incredibly high speeds, sometimes more than 3,200 kilometers per hour, as they approach their targets. Crucially, ballistic missiles also have a very long range, anything from around 1,000 kilometers up to over 5,000 kilometers in the case of Icbms. Until now, Russia has used several models of shorter-range ballistic missiles, including the Iskander and the Kinzhal. Due to their high speed, only certain air defense systems are capable of shooting them down, the US-made Patriot system being one of them. Russia regularly uses close and short-range ballistic missiles in aerial attacks against Ukraine, but Icbms are far larger, can be equipped with nuclear payloads, and are designed to hit targets at far longer ranges. Ballistic missiles are rocket-powered and are launched high into the atmosphere before arcing back down onto their target. They're only guided during the initial stages of launch, so they can be less accurate than cruise missiles, but have the advantage of reaching incredibly high speeds, sometimes more than 3,200 kilometers per hour, as they approach their targets. Crucially, ballistic missiles also have a very long range, anything from around 1,000 kilometers up to over 5,000 kilometers in the case of Icbms. Until now, Russia has used several models of shorter-range ballistic missiles, including the Iskander and the Kinzhal. Due to their high speed, only certain air defense systems are capable of shooting them down, the US-made Patriot system being one of them. The attack came in the wake of what appeared to be Ukraine's first successful strike of a military target inside Russia using the US-supplied ATACMS missiles. After depicting such a move as crossing another red line the Kremlin had drawn, Russian President Vladimir Putin said his country would respond. They probably considered testing a nuclear warhead, which was also rumored to happen soon, but decided that's too intense, and that could invite too much backlash, especially from partners, such as China and India, Hoffman said. And then they probably thought that this is the next best option, because it sends a clear signal to the West, while potentially not antagonizing critical international partners. Hoffman added he expects this was a one-off rather than a new strategy from the Kremlin, given he estimates the cost of one rubezh to be north of $10 million, making continued attacks highly cost-ineffective. As well as the original Air Force statement, in the early afternoon of November 21, President Volodymyr Zelensky said an examination was taking place to determine the exact type of missile, but all characteristics of the strike had intercontinental ballistic capabilities. "We can see that Putin is using Ukraine as a training ground," he added. Russia, conversely, has said very little about the attack. When asked if Moscow had fired an ICBM, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters he had nothing to say on this topic. Ukraine's US-supplied Patriots have been effective at intercepting the ballistic missiles launched by Russia to date, but according to Defense Express, they are not currently optimized to intercept ICBMs. If Russia began to regularly launch ICBMs, Ukraine's air defenses would need to be bolstered by more advanced air defense systems like the THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, the outlet reported. And in the other news, Russia's economy is in worse shape than Ukraine's. Russian central bank head Nabiullina admits it has nearly exhausted its resources. Addressing parliament, Nabiullina complained about no people left. A record low unemployment at 2.4%, worsening labor shortages, production at its limits. Factory capacity utilization surpasses 80%, a record high. When an economy reaches the limits of its productive capacity while demand continues to be stimulated, Nabiullina warned, stagflation arises. Credit bubble and isolation. Rising interest rates are driving up credit costs, commodity industries are losing Western markets, and defense factories are running at full capacity, slowing GDP growth. GDP growth slowed to 3.1% in the third quarter, down from 4.1% in the second quarter and 5.4% in the first. Stagflation. The central bank predicts near stagnation next year, with GDP growth of 0.5% to 1% and flat investment and private consumption. Bloomberg says that Russia's elite describe grim economic conditions. Western company exits have weakened industrial capacity. Import substitution lags and mass mobilization has worsened labor shortages. Kremlin groups make huge sums of money from war. One part of this bloody business is the restoration of new Russian lands. By the way, one of the factors why Russia wants to seize as much land as possible is the desire of the Kremlin elite to make themselves richer by restoring new territories. The scheme of restoration of Mariupol was well developed. A large budget was allocated, most of which was stolen, and the buildings that were built were sold to Russians who moved to the Ukrainian resort city. The territories that Putin wants are attractive and can be used to make a lot of money after the freezing. That is why the Kremlin elites will push for the most favorable conditions for themselves. The video shows Mariupol destroyed by Russia, which it saved and is now restoring.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.